to be able to provide 38 extra strength, that's like the
Dire
equivalent of
team ban.
4,000 gold to your position one at like the 12-minute mark is
Yeah.
kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. By far is the best Omni carrier pairing, I should say, because also the strength will amplify your god strength, so extra
10
damage is going to
seconds
come through
remaining.
from that as the game goes on, and once Shurus keeps picking up
5
the
seconds
items.
remaining.
Being really impressed so far with a lot of the games we've seen from the Sven, because heroes like the Terrorblade, the Dusa, the Luna, all of these previous ancient clearing heroes aren't in the meta right now, but ancients are still very popular to take and are very valuable as well, considering we didn't see any changes to that in the patch. And this is a big reason why Sven's super valuable, and a big reason why Klinks is having a really good time as well, because of his potential to clear those stacks. So I'm now looking to see what IG go for their fly
Radiant
hero.
team ban.
Would be nice to have an ancient clearer.
Uh, Potentially. I mean, they've got Dispel. They've got. I mean, the early game for Elephant is pretty strong. You would have to assume that this is going to be a 4 Keeper of the Light and the Void Spirits mid, although Felix Chauba
10
did play
seconds
the
remaining.
4 Void Spirit yesterday for RNG, so anything's possible.
5 seconds remaining.
So what have we got left? Most likely Yang's hero left for Elephant.
Dire team ban.
Yeah, and they're just getting rid of a lot of this early push, so clearly wanting to obviously create space for the Sven to be able to pick up those ancient stacks, and then, well, how are they going to be able to respond to it here with the carry? The Morphling is available. It's kind of all right. It's that mixed
10
damage.
seconds
You should be
remaining.
able to get through the Omni Knight even if he pops the Guardian Angel.
5 seconds remaining.
Oracle, I mean, it's really damn effective if you pop the Fortune's End onto the Morphling, just given how much attacking that you're able to do. There's no AA, there's no real natural Spirit Vessel carriers either right now on Elephant, which is going to be quite nice for a morph.
I think it's a really good morph game, yeah.
And it's his favorite hero.
Yeah, he's one of his best heroes by far. The matchup versus Omni Knight is great because of all the abilities you're able to steal. They don't really have an instant jump, which is one of the big ways to kill off the Morphling. Sven does offer some heavy burst potential, which is not what the Morphling likes, but luckily enough, he does have a lot of armor, which can mitigate a majority of that, or at least enough to maybe get an Oracle save, or if Rubik has, Stolen Purification or Heavenly Grace, maybe that's enough as well.
They're taking a while to go for this last ban, though, on Elephant. I'm sure they might be thinking, okay, well, what really does pair well together with this Oracle? Is there anything that we might be able
Radiant
to
team
abuse? They're getting rid of the Luna, which, I mean, a lot of people in the European region are saying this hero is severely dropped off, but I don't see it. Everything about it is still pretty damn strong. The only real major nerf was that Lucid Beam cooldown at the earlier levels. 9 seconds now at level 1, 8 at 2, and so on
10
and so
seconds
forth.
remaining.
But I feel like, as a core, you're not exactly itemizing
5
into having a
seconds
ton of
remaining.
mana regen anyway. So support Luna might be dead, but I feel like core Luna is alive and well. You're not going to want to be lucid beaming more than every 8 seconds or so in the laning stage anyway.
I'm trying to see what else they can go for. It's not the Morphling, because I really thought Elephant were going to get rid of it. Maybe they have an answer to the position 3 if they go for it. In fact, it's going to be the Ursa from IG. So we've seen Firefly have incredible games on the Ursa, notably when he was versing the Night Stalker previously, absolutely popped off in that lane, and that was pretty free game overall for IG. Now, the matchup for him, not a lot of control at all, and a very, very strong laner.
So what do you think they're thinking here? Like, we've banned out a lot of Yang's heroes anyway, so what does he have left to play? Is all that I can really think of here. What wants to lane into this Ursa? I don't think you want a Legion Commander because you've got the save from the Oracle.
Wow.
First hero, new hero Pog Champ. I mean, it's a lot of kill threat, right? Like, especially now with the Keeper of Light, with how much they've buffed up the Illuminate. You just get that full charge off. The Reality Rift is still very strong. You don't have the scaling potential as you did before with the level 15 cleave talent being taken away. But I mean, your pickoff potential is huge, right? The change to, I believe, the level 10 talent, which now provides the extra pull distance on the Reality Rift, is pretty damn significant.
I was very surprised when I was reading the patch notes and saw that Chaos Knight was nerfed a little bit. That's definitely not what I was expecting at all. His
He
reality
wasn't being picked a lot.
yeah,
right?
it wasn't.
So-
Like, we were not seeing it a decent amount. Maybe sometimes the only people that I was really seeing it was like Galaxy Racer was playing it as a position 3. Sometimes like SMG were playing it for mid 1 as well. But I didn't really see anything else. Maybe other regions were, but didn't feel like too popular of a hero. They feels like they nerfed his laning stage a little bit. I mean, the early levels in his abilities a little bit tweaked, but he's still, I haven't seen him, so I bet traditionally was known as incredibly strong laner. And I like what you said as well, bringing up FY's the illuminate damage. I think this is going to be a lot to actually potentially shove the Ursa out of the lane. Traditionally, like a melee matchup, I'd start to favor the Ursa, but just imagine a Chaos Bolt into a fully charged illuminate, and then how is Ursa going to man fight that?
Exactly. You know, as soon as it's level 2, I feel like that's when Elephant are going to get super aggressive here. You know, you might need to forego the point into the Chaos Strike just for that little bit of lifesteal, but if you're going to try and set up a kill, I can't think of too much of a better combination than, you know, the Chaos Bolt stun into the Reality Rift, into the Illuminate, hell, even toss the Chakra Magic in again, and then be able to do the combo again in short succession. But, I mean, I don't know, like the game plan is pretty obvious for mine, at least for uh IG against this elephant lineup, right? It's like you just need to kite these heroes until you can get into the position that you want, because you are up against 3 melee. You know, they've got a few melee themselves for sure, but the Lena, of course, is able to be a little bit more mobile. She just needs to survive as much as possible. So that increased Reality Rift pull distance might throw them off. I mean, I'm sure they haven't come up against too many Chaos Knights so far, but that boots the travel and the vision and the positioning is going to be so vital for Emo in order for him to pop off this game. Just look at the lanes as well, right? Like, normally in a vacuum, you would say, okay, Ursa's got a melee matchup. He's totally happy with that. Tidehunter's got a melee matchup. He's totally happy with that. And then you've got in the mid lane a ranged hero against a melee hero. You're totally happy with that as well.
Yeah.
But we've seen this Void Spirit have very good combinations. We've talked about the kill threat coming together with this Chaos Knight and the Keeper of the Light. And then, of course, Omni Knight Sven, probably the strongest pairing for the Omni Knight in the game so far. And so once you get a few levels into that, even though you're kind of happy to be playing this Tidehunter, oh, as the double stun actually goes on, the 5v5 mid's happening.
Well, they didn't have Fly around mid, but, well, that's not going to matter. It's on this... It's able to pick up the first blood on Kaka, and that is a great way to help out in this tricky-ish laning matchup versus the Lina. Have you seen this Tide set? What is going on? Why has he got
the helmet? Yeah, that was from a TI, I think.
What, he's got this wonky thing just popping out of his head?
Yeah,
the octopi...
it's like a diver's mask, an old school scuba mask.
I didn't hang on. Look at stream. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing I'm looking.
Oh no,
okay.
No, that's some sort of spinal problem right there.
Dude, I'm like, I don't remember this being cosmetic. I'm not sure what's going on.
It's not like that on my screen.
I'm like, okay, like I don't know. Like, I know I'm not describing great, but I feel like you're not describing of what I'm seeing right now. So I'm really not sure what's going on. Back to what I was gonna say.
He's got his Ravage ready, you know. He's already precasted.
Maybe it's a bug that gives him, you know, instead of the slight delay on the tentacles flying out of the ground, it's, you know, instead of say 0.5, now it's 0.3. Or JT, I don't know what he's done.
To harass as well, right? You just poke him with it.
There's extra power in the lane here for JT. And, well, not that the Tide really needs it, because we've seen, you know, through the last couple of days of the groups, so a lot of these teams were putting heavy emphasis on picking the Tidehunter super early. And we saw Old 11 in particular with how he was able to play with the Tide in one of those games. And though was trying to bring up, of course, before that fight interrupted us, is do you feel like Elephant have the ways to get on top of the Lina? Like, do they have to itemize for it, or do you feel like the draft has kind of enabled them?
I think they need to do things really quickly, and they need to... Oh, look at this. Level 2, bot lane. It's only on Yang, though. No point in the Chakra Magic yet, so they're going to need to wait a little bit until they're able to do the combo again. But as soon as FY picks it up, It's going to be a little bit delayed as they lost the range creep, but Chakra Magic gives it over to Yang. And actually went for the point of the Chaos Strike, huh? I mean, it's fine for just sitting in the lane and wanting to have the lifesteal for sure. But as soon as he gets that Reality Rift, that's a ton of kill potential. It's only 50 mana. They just need to make good early rotations onto Emo, is what I was saying.
Okay.
Because Oracle's not going to be able to have the false promise, and even if he does, like, you've got the burst potential to be able to take him out super early on before he gets those items to enable him to, like, kite around in these team fights and space.
Yeah, that's a perfect transition because that's what I was looking to bring up next. We've seen a lot of these rotations early from the teams in China just by that 5-minute mark. That's quite often when the mid laners have their level 6, and that's when we've seen the Void Spirit be able to kill the laner a couple times. If Somnus just gets that Astral Set before Emo's Laguna Blade, then with the +1 or even +2 from both supports rotating. But I'd say from Elephant, they don't have the easiest supports to get involved, like maybe a Illuminate spam from afar, but there's nothing really an Omni Knight can do to help out mid. So do you feel like that might make them suffer a little bit for this laning stage and trying to pressure the laner?
I think it could, but you're going to force a lot of rotations to weird sort of lanes. They're going for a kill here onto Fly. Oh, actually just a little bit late there on the Fate's Edict there with Ollie. Not all that often that you see that leveled up at level 2. Normally you want to put a lot more points into the Purifying Flames for the harass and the heal, of course, but against this Keeper of the Light, it's so necessary.
Yeah, and this may force Ollie to go for a crap load of selves in this lane as well. Mid lane, what's going on here? Somnus on really low. Fable's gonna tick off the salve that was freshly applied here on the Void Spirit. Kaka's still looking to chase, but this boots advantage, he just won't close the distance.
Uses the salve. I'm sure that Super's going to hang around at this bot lane just to try and secure that that water rune for his team. It's a little bit too dangerous for him to think to stick around on Kaka.
Looks like he's going to end up falling here. However, Ollie, sustained from the Oracle. Too much for them to go through, but you see another salve use and Fly is not getting a whole lot out of this lane at all.
Even having the last half or so of the salve cancelled out by that Chaos Bolt. I mean, you got a Keeper of the Light in your lane, right? You can just Chakra Magic you straight back up and you're ready to go again. All he needs is enough for an Illuminate, and it's only 125 mana, so you don't care about using the Chakra Magic on yourself all that much. Here we go. Looking for another channel, Reality Rift into it. Is he on point? No.
I mean, again, like, look at what Ollie's buying. He's got Salve, Clarity coming out, just the emphasis on trying to sustain the lane, but Fly, he's really just relying on his stick charges here and hoping that the tower region can put him at a respectable health pool to maybe get some last hits, because he is getting bodied right now. Mid lanes, Somnus though.
Make a bit of an aggressive move onto the Chaos Knight. FY getting the good channel off, and yeah, Fly, he's just... I wonder if Keeper of the Light is going to go think to try and snipe some couriers, because he's got the boots of speed, he's got a ton of movement speed right now, but finally they're going to be able to deliver through both of those key items that you needed. Now that he's at least finished up the magic wand on Fly, it becomes easier. He's got the Morbid Mask available as well, but it still feels like you just don't want to come into this lane at all.
At least for Fly, his other lanes are going very well. I mean, JT's got no care in the worlds right now up top. He's top of the last hits, 33 at the moment. Does lose his Choreo, but I don't think losing the boots is going to matter too much. And meanwhile, take a look at mid, man. Somnus, even though he got that first blood, it wasn't enough to really swing this potentially in his favor. And I've been very intrigued on how the Void Spirits have been able to do so much better than expected against this tough matchup in the Lina. And it looks like finally what I thought was going to be the case is showing, at least in this game one, with Emo dominating mid.
Emo is dominating mid. We're not seeing quite as good of a performance from Somnus as we did yesterday. You know, he had a Wind Ranger mid that didn't fail a single rotation, backed up into a sniper mid that was just absolutely insane. And even just there, like, he was just a little bit off with his Aether Remnant, meant that he couldn't bottle up the regen rune. Emo denied it away, and just with Kaka sitting in this lane, they're looking to bully this out. And I mean, Coddle, Omni Knight, they're not going to be super effective in rotating through here. I mean, Omni's going to do it just to throw his body into the way. So he ends up cancelling it, but it still means that the tower's nearly gone down at the 7-minute mark.
And you see as well that, I mean, Eurus is top of the net worth. He's still had a free lane trading farm with JT, but my only issue is that no one has been making stacks to the Ancients. Usually that first rotation to the jungle from the Sven, he's already got a couple stacks to play with. In fact, it does look like he has one at the hard camp towards the mid-tier 2 tower, but none around the Ancients at all, and none kind of with that transition line to farm towards the triangle camp as well. So it's a minor thing, but you got to also have to keep in mind that Radiant have done a very good job at both centering the hard and the Ancients.
And FY is just being so goddamn annoying. The amount of salves that he's cancelled that have barely been used for half the time is insane. And, well, finally, oh, they could have got a kill on Oli there. I'm sure that they were hoping.
JT just drops the ulti. There's that extra tentacle coming into play. I told you, man. It's just
still there?
Yeah, it's still there for me. I reckon it's going to be there the entirety of the game. It's the power of the tentacle. I don't know what it is, but that's why JT's dominated this lane, and looks like he doesn't care about rotating at all. He's happy with dropping the Ravage, just getting the kill, and now this tower is going to take a bit of a beating as well.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, mid tower taking a lot of damage. Top tower, it's being pushed out a little bit. And again, like you said, JT's having a great time. He's even being able to pull all this creep wave into a hard camp, so increasing his farm even further. But yeah, I'm sure that Elephant were thinking that this bottom lane would have gone better. Not that it's gone badly, but they were looking for kills. Because as a result of that, yes, you've hindered the Ursus farm, but you haven't built up stacks for yourself. And a rotation in onto Kaka. That's a nice little bonus for Eurus.
Yang's in trouble though down bottom. This is going to put Fly on the board. Let's see who's going to claim the kill though. Invictus Gaming have always been really on point with allowing the cords that are behind to get the kill, but unfortunately Fly wasn't able to catch up because of the distance created in the W from the Chaos Snipe. But hey, you take a look at the net worth. I mean, Fly is ahead of the Void Spirit, so he's had at least not the worst time out of all the cores, and it's only 600 behind the Chaos Knight, which is a hero who used to scale really well with that cleave talent. Like, we saw some position 3s have really good lanes, get early 15s thanks to the Midas, and then you could scale into the late game because of how well you could keep up in farm. But I'm intrigued to see now what the difference is going to be without this talent.
Yeah, he went into he very briefly had an Orchid queued up, but now he's just switching into the Echo Saber, much more logical build. Of course, you can still disassemble that so that you can start going into Somnus. Are you in a little bit of trouble here, buddy? Having to use the second charge of the Astral Step to be able to get away. But yeah, I mean, Echo Saber to be able to make these early plays, again, it's all about being able to down. You're not going to catch out the Ursa, but Rubik should probably be food. If you can get onto the Oracle, that's obviously fantastic as well. And the Lina, as long as you're able to scout out Ollie's positioning and make sure you don't have that save coming through from the False Promise, she could be in a vulnerable position as well. So she's actually going the Yule Scepter instead. Okay, something a little different, but it is good for being able to have a little bit more of that kite potential as well and allow the Oracle to close the space. Same sort of thing with the Tidehunter, right? For the turnaround potential.
Yeah, it might just help kite the Sven through the early stages. I'm intrigued by this, and because you've got, you always used to be the nice way to set up for the Light Strike Array, but we've just seen the transition into the Boot to Travel BKBs incredibly key items on how fast you can pick it up. It can just steamroll your farm, but maybe looking to get a little bit more active, recognizing that with the rough lane that Ursa's had, he's going to take a lot more of the safer farm. So Emo with the Yours wants maybe like a defensive item, I suppose.
Is under attack.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's going to have to be entirely on JT because of how this laning stage has gone. I mean, he had a good time on Emo as well, I suppose, but it still wasn't a super easy go at things in the mid lane with the First Blood being given up. Emo, though, he's almost finished that Yule Scepter. Might even look to, I was about to say invade into the Dire Tri-Camp, but that's already been taken, that little stack that FY was finally able to make up for Eurus.
Well, they're in Roche, and Dire have not scouted this out at all.
Alright.
Probably not expecting Fly to be able to take it, but all you need is Morbid Mask and a hero like JT that's able to tank, and they've only got 1 point in Gush, but A3 armor reduction, that's going to help out a little bit, and this is a very, very early Roshan, and still feels like the Ursa hero is someone that relies on finding the second Aegis and the second Rosh kill as early as possible, because he heavily relies on the Aghanim shard. We heard a lot of the commentators at the any major put so much emphasis on the fact that this hero needs to find the early first Rosh that can then enable the early second Rosh, as Emo actually falling in the river here. So nice rotation from Elephant. It's not the easiest kill to find with the lack of the stuns, and meanwhile Yang also getting a solo kill down bot. So a couple hitting the board here from Elephant.
And I think that attempt onto the Lina was directly in response to the Oracle TPing down there. Have a look at his TP scroll cooldown. He just put his face down on the bottom side of the map. They knew they didn't have the turnaround. JT tried to make the TP through so that you could defend the Lina, but that's the sort of play that Elephant need to consistently be making. Punish the Lina and punish the Oracle for not being in the right position to be able to save her.
My eyes are going to be on how, again, IG are able to play around JT, because he has had an incredible start to this game. We saw Vici Gaming yesterday with Old 11 and his Tide Hunter, and he was just this impenetrable wall that they could not kill and they could not run past, and it was so difficult for their opposition to take those fights. And I mean, JT is second in the net worth. He's got
Look at where he is.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in their jungle, taking away their stacks. Granted, Flyfly's doing that, and they're doing the same thing on the other side of the map. But I feel like IG, when they've got this Aegis, and you don't have the mid or the top tower to worry about, you're totally fine to go for that sort of play.
And he had the Solar Crest queued up, but he's actually opted into the Blink Dagger, so he doesn't have level 2 Ravage. He's pretty close to about a quarter away, but they're looking to try and make a play. Flyfly does have TP if he wants to join, but maybe opting to try and farm up his diffuser. They really don't want super. Unfortunately for Emo, though, smoke's gonna pop, and well, in fact, they'll find Yang. LSA is gonna be off the mark, but JT, he's still got the fault, but it doesn't matter if they miss that stun. Maybe they didn't have to commit for the Ravage, but nonetheless, you're happy with finding a smoke kill onto the core on Yang.
Actually, I thought that LSA should have hit. That looked pretty damn close to me. Maybe must have been milliseconds in it, but a decent use of the Ravage, decent use of the smoke there, and the Blink Dagger reveal. Probably didn't catch absolutely everyone that they wanted, but, you know, it's a core, it's a Chaos Knight, and he is not going the Midas. He doesn't have the level 15 cleave talent, so you know that if you're able to bully him out in the super early game, that he's not going to be able to do quite as much in the later stages. So I think that kill's totally cool if you're on IG side.
Do you feel like Elephant might be able to make a play now, knowing Ravage is on cooldown, or are you content with them just continuing to farm?
I think both teams are happy to farm, to be honest, right? Like, Yang, he still needs his Blink Dagger. He's level 10 now. I don't think he put a point into the talent yet. I really want to see this Reality Rift full distance, just to see how deceptively long it can be in these team fights. And same sort of thing with Sven, right? He wants his Blink. They want to get in onto the back lines, find the Oracle, and find the Lina every single time.
Well, are they grouping up for smoke? Yep, they are. Okay, so Elephant, they've got Eurus leading the charge, looking to try and connect on a wraparound of the tier 1 tower mid. They've got some solid wards around the area, so with this information advantage, we'll see who Elephant are able to start the fight on. They might just show Eurus in the lane and try and take the tower and force IG to take the fight.
Well, they've got a siege creep, so they're going to have to respond to it unless they want to lose this mid tower.
Somnus. It's a lot of damage on Flyfly at the moment. Gonna try and burn the Aegis early on here, but he hasn't fallen just yet because Karka was able to steal the Heavenly Grace finally. Round 1 now expired. We've got the second round coming up in a couple of seconds here. Let's see if they can protect Flyfly with the Rage on cooldown, but they still have Oli on his backside. Here's the False Promise, gonna give him enough health to stand his ground. Now they can turn to kill off Yang as well with the Chaos Knight. He's too far pushed up without the protection of Eurus, and Sumner's still continuing to find Oli, but this Eurus is not really important now that he's used the False Promise. So it's a heavy commitment from the Void Spirit on the back line. Still got a lot of mobility. They're kiting this on the higher ground. Now they're going to jump Emo. He's overstepped the mark here, JT. Lining up the Ravage. Now after the Yules drop down, they'll get a massive kill on the Void Spirit. They'll turn to kill off Super. They'll turn to try and kill off FY as well with a big pole coming into play. JT should be able to chase him down with ease, and Invictus Gaming find all 5.
Even getting a little bounty rune after that with the trusty shovel on Kaka. It was a good play coming through. Again, I'm really surprised that they were able to get through that Ursa, right? Because you stole the Heavenly Grace, you had that, plus the False Promise, plus his lifesteal, plus all of the healing coming through from the Purifying Flames. It just showed how heavy Elephant had to continue their commitment onto that Ursa.
Regeneration.
It got to the stage as well where Somnus was putting a lot of attention on the Oracle, but I mean, guess what? Like you already used False Promise. This hero is not valuable anymore, really, in a team fight, and that actually could have been completely different as Ollie mid lane. It's got no assistance here, but they don't see that at the moment. They're now going to finally notice that JT and Kaka are putting an assault onto Yang.
Who's finding who? Kaka. He's getting caught out. He doesn't have any save for himself right now. The Blink Dagger was just used, so it's going to remain 5 seconds away. They're not going to even be able to chase him. Wow.
Man, there are some incredible abilities to steal. Stormhammer, Chaos Bolt, the Void Spirit, I mean Aether Remnant, that's great. Legitimately any stun, yep. Any stun and any nuke, exactly what a Rubik wants with this spell amp and cast range. And just put JT on the front line. He doesn't have Ravage, he doesn't care. How are we gonna go through the Tide Hunter? 1800 health, the effective health from all the itemization, and they recognize that. They see JT and like, yeah, that's he's impermeable right now. Let's just go for someone else.
That's exact.
Man, legit, if Kaka's able to steal Illuminate, you've got the Ravage set up for it. So you can be dealing like 700 damage with an Illuminate if you've got that Arcade Supremacy maxed out. It's kind of nutty. But like, with that previous rotation that Elephant made, you know, I was like, oh, okay, well, they're so close to picking up the Blink Dagger on the Chaos Knight. They're so close to getting it on the Spen as well. He opted to go into the Aghanim Scepter instead, disassembling his Saber so that he can have it for the fight, which is fine. You know, it's against an Oracle, so it's not going to be super effective for like dispelling anything.
Kaka, look at the stun lock. The perfect control. Oh my god, IG are just flawless in this game one. They controlled Super with the Yules, so he couldn't get the protection on the Void Spirit, and now they'll kill him afterwards as well. Oh, that is breathtakingly beautiful.
Yeah, looking real good, but I mean, I guess the Aghanim Scepter is better on Eurus because it is going to scale as well, right? You've got that horrible combo once you get the Aghanim Shard as well. Maybe it might be they're playing around this next Roche. You know, they know it's going to respawn at around the 20-minute or so mark, given that it was, I think, 12.5 minutes that IG were able to take it the first time. And, I mean, once you've got that, you've got a lot of aggressive potential that, you know, Glimmercape's not going to be able to save you, a Ghost Scepter's not going to be able to save you.
And mass TPing in to kill Eurus. Oh, this Observe Ward is paying dividends for IG. Is it another pickoff on such a valuable core in Eurus?
Is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Double damage.
Not often you see the Coral go the Yule Scepter. That's something that's definitely a little bit more out of left field. I mean, it's good, of course, against the Ursa pre-BKB for just being able to kite out that Enrage for as long as possible. Of course, the Yule Scepter not being reduced by the status resistance that you get from the Ursa Ultimate. But, I don't know, I feel like you could just get a whole lot more done with that farm.
JT! He jumped the Ravage at the last second. This is Kaka's extra control. I don't know if you were watching that, but JT blinked on the Void Spirit. Just stood there for like a second, maybe a second and a half, and then Ravaged at the last second of the outpost, and there was enough time for Kaka to get nearby. And I was telling you, like, this stun lock that can come through. The Stormhammer is a nuts ability to take.
And it's a quick Roche as well, so Firefly, he's going to be able to get that big objective that he was hoping for the entire time. The Ag Shard's going to go his way, he's very close to picking up the BKB. I think IG are going to be a lot more measured about their farm in this. They want to make sure that they can finish that before they go again. They just use the Ravage, right? So they can afford to back up a little bit, take some of the safer farm.
I feel like IG, all they need to put attention on is the supports. Kill the Coddle, kill the Omni, kite the Sven, and then the fight feels very freely won. I mean, there is no net worth in the Void Spirit, so Somnus is going to have next to zero impact. You know, pretty much his real role is just trying to disrupt the Oracle in these fights. But for the Chaos Knight as well, like, you know, I'm intrigued to see what Yang can do, because You know, they go for this greedy-esque position 3, and we'll see if it pays off in the long run.
Yeah. Supposed to have the BKB yet? No, about 150 gold away, but they're still making a little bit of a rotation up towards the top side. He's going to finish up with this gold in the mid lane. He'll even get his level 15 as well, you would think. Yeah. So a little bit more of that survivability or damage. Hell, take your pick.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Now, what? He's got to refresh it. Dude, JT is so farmed. He's so farmed. Oh my god. He's
How
going
do
to
you
have...
stop this man?
I mean, he's going to have big mana issues. Like, big mana issues.
Radiant's bottom tower is
So,
under
I'm
attack.
surprised he
He's
didn't...
going into the Arcane Blink though, right? So he'll at least have that.
There's no way they find Somnus, right? He might Astral
say
Step to
that.
Kaka.
Ooh. Ooh.
Dire
Blink?
are
No.
scanning.
Yeah, isn't he
They've
so...
got decent ways to deal with the Phantasm illusions, right? Like Kaka, Fade Bolt, such a long range, and of course the Lina able to get through a lot of damage really quickly. They're just continuing to move on forward. I mean, why not? They freshly placed up these Observer Wards. Who are they going to be able to catch out? Fly doesn't have a Blink Dagger, so he's just going to have to continue running. It's still about the kite
they
game.
found Somnus.
Is under attack.
LSA off the mark again. Even Emo committing with the BKB, so...
Dire's
A little bit of a
structures are fortified.
squeefy start from Invictus
Radiant
Gaming,
structures
and
are
meanwhile across the map, Yang's gonna try and drag them back to bottom, just get their attention off this tier 2 tower mid.
He's got
Another
his Phantasm
smoke.
ready. Oh, they might be looking to go for him. If he shows in lane that one more time, maybe they'll see the Phantasm illusions come out in 10 seconds.
Eurus is the target. JT might be able to get the Ravage on both as well. They're gonna try and drag him further away, but the Superman locks super without being able to help Eurus. So this mass AoE Ravage is just pushing the Omni Knight further and further away from the Sven. And wait, JT even popping the refresher early just in case the fight continues to break out.
Why not get double use out of that Soul Ring? Easy money. You said he was lacking on
Is
mana.
under attack.
Thought he might be. Oh, sorry, JT. Nice kill to find. They might also get super.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Oh no. Oh, he still gets the advis. Nope, never mind. He's underneath the sentry line.
So
Undertow.
that's interesting. You can purge off all the other runes, but invis you can't.
Maybe it hadn't fully formed. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't.
Runes are weird.
Yeah, maybe it was like the same mechanic as like normal
Dire's
invis because you
bottom
can't purge
tower
that
is
off,
under
but
attack.
like all the other runes you can haste, DD, Arcane. So I thought it was going to be the same there.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Bottom tower has
man,
I mean,
I-
for me, it comes down to do big things for Elephant. I didn't hate their draft, but that bottom lane, I'm sure they were looking to get some more kills. They
Dire's
didn't
middle tower
synergize
is under attack.
the Reality Rift Chaos Bolt
Dire's
Illuminate combo
structures
together
are
enough.
fortified.
Yeah, like
Radiant
they weren't even
structures
perfect on
are
Ollie, right? Some of the
fortified.
Fate's Edicts were a second or two
Dire's
late.
bottom tower
And
is
are they
under
going to go for a
attack.
kill here onto Somnus? They've got
Radiant's
that
top
Ravage
tower
off
is
cooldown
under
again.
attack.
Blink right onto him and use it. Never mind, you got Karka to set up.
They don't have the extra stun from Kharkov. They did then. Maybe they wouldn't have had to drop the Ravage. They seem pretty content with just using this big ultimate for a soul pickoff here. IG still wanting some objectives out of it. And they won't really get anything out of this second Roshan as Oli... I'm not sure where he died in the bottom river there. Okay.
They took the bot tier 1, right? Like, that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's just like a nice TP point to maybe make a quick play down bot or something. It doesn't really change the status of it.
Yeah. There's a few pings going on onto that mid tower, but you've only got 15 seconds left on that Aegis Fly, so he's going to need to be careful. Play around his team. Still lacking the Blink Dagger, although it just got delivered through to him. You wouldn't want to get baited into going super deep, dying without that Aegis. And I think we'll hear that lovely tune of saying no more diving super deep as Aegis is reclaimed.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And I think they know these timings as well. Somnus and FY, they're positioning themselves to try and get a bit of a hit onto the backlines. They'll only find JT.
I don't know
probably the
about
last one you want to go
this.
for.
He's got Refresher in 5. Instant TP's coming through as well. JT. Well, pretty low, but he can purge off the Stormhammer thanks to the Kraken Shell. Now Refresher turns instantly, blinks on top of Elephant, dropping the massive tentacles as Eurus just gets ripped apart. You can't start the fight on JT, and he is showing why.
And they even had a decent Will-O-Wisp come down there from FY, but I mean, the other thing is with that refresher, he also got the second use out of the Hood of Defiance. Gonna catch Somnus here.
Emo doesn't have Yules. Oh,
Shadowblade.
nice LSA. Can Kaka get in range for the telekinesis? He can. That should be enough. Stunlock into the burst, and Somnus is going to join the two other heroes in the grave.
Well, he's got the Mystic Staff now, so bye-bye mana issues. Nearly going into the Arcane Blink as well, just taking up this farm. It's the 27-minute mark, so he'll get a nice neutral item for himself in the Mindbreaker. Coddle dies again. Look at that dive, super deep by Fly. He doesn't care. Had to use the BKB for it, but Coddle dead means that there's not too much that can
Oh, Yang dead
interrupt
too.
a push if you want to.
Alright, we're just giving away a couple freebies across the map. IG continuing to steamroll this game one here. 27 minutes in with a 10,000 net worth lead, and what a introduction to the playoffs for them.
Now, it's not call it territory yet. It's getting pretty close, though. You know, I feel like the fact that these tier 2 towers are still standing is kind of leading them to believe that, well, we still might have a chance. We've got a Sven. We have that comeback potential. They're just trying to funnel all this farm and all this experience. Tome given over to Eurus as well. They want him to have his level 18.
Eurus might kill off Kaka, but Fly's doing the dirty work.
Guardian already.
Kaka, it's in trouble. Somnus even got to commit forward. I don't think... Can Eurus man-fight Emo? There's so much damage right now. Even though Lena is straight on top of the Sven, protected with a false promise, and they're going to look to reset on Elephant. Especially with JT showing up.
Well, that's God Strength used. So good luck taking a fight in the next minute and a half. They're going to need to. Yeah, they're just continuing to move on forward.
What? If you have... FY?
I was about to say, like, I'm sure the fight that Elephant were wanting to take was, let Sven get up to level 18, get that Echo Saber back online for Eurus, and, well, they've done that, but it's after using the God Strength. So again, it's just going to be another minute that IG have to continue pushing out waves. Now they've taken the outer tower mid as well. So it's just so much more pressure that, I mean, they're confined into this small space on the bottom side of the map.
Are scanning.
So Yang got something good coming out to him. It's a Silver Edge. All right, kind of nice. You might be able to burst down the Tide Hunter, but
he's about to be
not if
dead.
he finds you first.
Yang. No messing around once again. JT kind of being the continuation of the story for him this game. Solo Ravage after solo Ravage, just looking for these, you know, quick 1-2 punch in the pickoffs and then trying to get objectives out of that.
Yeah, I mean, that was with the fresh pickup of the Arcane Blink as well, so this Ravage only has 85 seconds remaining on cooldown already.
Radiant's bottom
I wouldn't call this
tower is
Rat
under
Dota,
attack.
this is Desperation Dota coming down towards the bottom side. They're just going to TP right on back. Do they have vision under that? Yeah, they saw the Rubik TPing in onto the outpost, so they know that he's not going to do that solo.
Radiant's
They just
bottom
want to try and
tower is
avoid as
under
much as
attack.
possible. And what do you know? Third Roche is up. Refresher Shard. JT, do you want another Ravage? I think he might be happy to take it.
You reckon? I reckon 100%. Not just a little bit happy. I reckon they're ecstatic to find this one and try and close out this game. Get it to a game 2. Continue with the momentum that they've been growing and growing through this 30 minutes here from Invictus Gaming. Dire, they'll be too late to the party as their 4-man rotation to the jungle will not result in anything. Radiant, however, looking to smoke up themselves as well. So we got, who actually took the, so Ages on Emo. Fly's got the refresher shot. Okay, so double BKB, double Enrage. A lot of survivability for himself. They feel like they can win the fight just off the back of 2 Ravages here from JT.
They know they're around as well. The Sentry Ward placed up pretty damn early by Elephant means that this high ground Observer Ward scouted out. They immediately put FY back there on the defense, but man, it feels like this is going to be a hard ask for Elephant to be able to come back into this one. Fly is going hunting. He wants to try and catch out that pesky Coddle.
Well, they've done a very good job. All the creep waves have shoved it through. Oh, yeah, missed one
He's
range
coming in.
creep.
Eurus found him.
You're stuck around.
He's got a Basher as well, so he can't just TP.
He's ultra dead. Maybe he can bring someone to the grave with him before he dies,
Nope.
but the bashes from Fly, that's
Kite Dota.
Ah.
That's what it is. And
Radiant's
for
top
me,
tower is under attack.
again, Elephant, if I had to use a term to describe how they've played this game, it's like off tempo. They've either been slightly too fast or slightly too slow, and a couple of times they've gone on, at least in my eyes, the incorrect target. Emo shouldn't have had a game where he's able to just get this one death game where you just can stand in on the back lines and freely hit. Like, he's got an MKB, he's got one kind of defensive item and not much else.
Mid lane, JT again, just dropping the Ravage before there's any reaction. He's going to use a second one on the Omni Knight. Oh, JT is not being cautious at all with how he's wanted to use these ultimates in big team fights in Elephant. Not even going to look to take one last 5v5 as IG absolutely dumps to them in game one.
Radiant victory.
Very, very confident victory coming through from them. I mean, there's not too much that you can fault about that. I thought the lanes might have been a little difficult for them considering the kill potential that they had, as well as how the Void Spirit has been showing a lot of promise against the Lina. But in particular, I feel like even though the Ursa got bullied out, it needed to be an absolute stomping in that bottom lane. Didn't happen. And then in the top side, like, this Fen Omni lane didn't do all that much. You know, it is very strong, of course. That level 7 timing on the Omni in particular is very important, but it felt like JT had just planted his flag down and, you know, asserted dominance before it got to that point. He was solo farming on that top side by the time he was level 7.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how this game can kind of shape up the rest of the playoffs in regards to counters and heroes that we see, because we've been seeing a little bit of the Void Spirit to answer the Lina, but finally my issues kind of came into fruition with how I think Lina really dominates that lane, and it showed even off the back of Somnus having this first blood advantage. It just wasn't enough to offset the tougher matchup, and he had no impact this game. We've been seeing through the past couple of days all these teams starting to put so much emphasis on the Tide Hunter, and there's a reason why, man. He just they couldn't kill him. 6-0-13. JT was able to provide so much, and I am really intrigued now to see what the switch up is going to be from Elephant in the second game, because yes, you get the Sven with the Omni, you know, you get the Keeper of the Light as well. I personally been harping a crap load on this hero. I think China have made it look incredible as a support, but the rest of the heroes weren't able to fit together from Elephant, and unfortunately for them, they're now down one game here in our upper bracket round 1 match.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that game could have gone very differently. Sure, the landing stage on top side, not too much you can do about that, but more kills, more coordination needed to happen between Yang and FY on the bot side. They needed to make smarter rotations come through with, blink daggers to get in onto the back lines before the BKBs came online for IG. And as well, I feel like FY going for the Yule Scepter was not the correct choice. You know, sure, you're able to lock down the Ursa for a little bit longer, but if you just rush that Ags, you're able to lock down potentially 2, 3, 4, 5 people and get that early control that you need before the BKBs came out. So some very, I mean, in my eyes, simple things that they can do to change things around, but the draft is going to go a long way as well. I mean, we talked about how IG were putting themselves in a place to even potentially have 3-1 lanes because of their heroes in a vacuum. And, well, unfortunately for Elephant, they didn't execute. They've still got a chance to come back in game 2, though.
Well, time to find out if this momentum from Invictus Gaming is going to be too much for Elephant to handle. If they can look to reset and stem the bleeding and take game 2 and then force this to a full best of 3 distance, but only time will tell. When we come back from break, we'll all find out.